Hello beautiful people, welcome back to another video. For today I am going to be talking about some tips and tricks about being a server in a restaurant. So my topic for today is going to be 5 things that you should know about servers before going to eat at a restaurant. So it's pretty self-explanatory, so without further ado, let's get to it. Alright guys, topic number 1 is, yes, we are servers, but that is not our only job. This may not be our only job, and that's like the big thing that I always try to get across to people is this is not my only job. This is not my only focus. This is not my only career. If it is for some people, it is yours. All the power to you, but there are those of us that kind of are using it as like that bridge to get us through, these paths in our lives. I started working there because I got out of high school. I needed a job. My dad gave me a job, and he was just like, this is a really good foundation. He's like, it gives you the flexibility and it gives you, like the hours and stuff, and it kind of like will help you and will maintain you while you're going to college, and which really helped me too. Working at a restaurant, it's fairly easy. It's a part-time job, so you really don't work any more than like 6 hours, especially where I was working. I really never worked any more than 6 hours. If I did, then yeah, it was cool, but most of the time I really never worked more than 6 hours. So my scheduling, I never really had that many conflicts, and it's nice to have the cash right then and there. And I think that's what I got used to over the years, was having that cash in my pocket right away, especially with those tips. Gotta live on those tips. So it may not be our only job. We may have other jobs. We may have 2 other jobs. In my dad's case, my dad had 2 other jobs, so that was his 3rd job. So you never know what people are going through, and you don't know other people's lives, so you can't just assume oh, this is our job and we want to do a good job at it. But just take into consideration that this may not be our only job, and this may not be our career or our end goal in our life. This is just to get us by. So criticizing and doing those types of things, oh, maybe we're not the best server, maybe we forgot something, we didn't bring it to the table, just take into consideration and understand that that may not be our only job. So we might have other jobs, and it's just one of those bridges just to get us through so we can move on to bigger and better things. Especially in my case, I used it to go to college because obviously had to take out a lot of student loans, so I didn't have much options as for money, and I didn't have a lot of jobs that would allow me that flexibility to be able to go to school and do other things that I wanted, also working and making the money that I needed to pay my bills. So it was a great option for me, and I think it's a great option for those that want to have it's not really that much of a steady income, but if you get used to how it works and your tips and managing your money right, it's a very great income for you to be able to make money quick, and to have money in your pocket that day and right after your shift. So I just like people to understand that this is not my only job. Yes, my focus is to do my job while I'm there and while I'm on the clock, but you really don't know what's going on in other people's lives. So you can't really just be oh, well, it's your job, and just basically judge the person for being a server. You would never want to do that to people. Alright guys, topic number 2 that we're going to talk about, guys, is servers are not cooks. Hey, if I was a cook, yes, I can try and get that well done steak out for you as soon as I can. Let me go and cook that right now. It's on the grill. No, guys, unfortunately, some servers, we're not even allowed in the back. Some of us don't even know how the food is prepped. We have specific people for specific jobs. My specific job is a server. I serve the food to you. It is not cook server or server cook, so you have to break those 2 apart, and you have to take that into consideration, that I am the one who grabs the food as soon as it's done and brings it to your table. So I've had so many people get really angry and really upset, especially towards me, because they think I'm purposely withholding their food, which is nowhere near the case. I'm not purposely leaving the food in the window and not bringing it to your table, because obviously I want you to eat. I want you to have a good time. I want you to enjoy your meal. That way, I don't have to, that way we just don't have to get into those type of conflicts or anything like that. We don't have that, bad mojo or whatever going between us. I don't want conflicts or confrontation. I want you to have a smooth and nice meal. So we are not the cooks. Unfortunately, the cooks can only go as fast as they can. But I mean, take into consideration, yes, if I do ring in something wrong, or I take the order wrong and it takes a little bit longer, definitely I'm only human. I've done that. I've made mistakes, you know, or, you know, trying to do things too quickly and like put in the wrong food or put in the wrong meal, or like the button's right on top of it and you choose the other one and you're not noticing because you're so busy. So yeah, I apologize to people. Honestly, like when I do make a mistake, I try and let them know, like, I apologize, like it was my mistake, my bad. Some people are really nice and really lenient about it and they're like, oh, like it's okay, you know, like everybody makes mistakes, it's fine. But like there are some of those people, you know, like when they do go out, that it's like their food is like an all or nothing, and then like it turns into like a bloodbath for them. Like I have no idea. And you know, you never want to mess with hungry people and their food, and that's the only thing that I like do not like being a part of, is hungry people wanting their food. But guys, we are not the cooks, and I, you know, just want to tell you, just take into consideration if it's taking a long time, sometimes it's really not our fault, and we do all we can, you know, to get, as soon as it's in the window, we take it to the table. If it's not us, if it's somebody else that's helping walking the food, then it is what it is. You know, we all need that help, and we all need to, you know, focus and try and get that teamwork. But I just wanted to talk about that topic because I know a lot of people get really antsy and are like, well, we gave you our order and like, how come our food's not here? And it's like, okay, how the system works is you give me the order, especially in my case, this is for my restaurant. I don't know if it's for other restaurants. Give me the order. I go to the computer, input it in, press send. After I press send, it's really out of my hands. There's nothing that I can do about it. It's like, it's gone from me. It goes straight back to the kitchen and they deal with it. They make the food, they prep it, they get it done, get it in the window. Then that's where I come in. It's like, okay, the food's done. Now I can take it out to the table. I've had some people get so mad and so angry because their food takes like an hour or like even 45 minutes. And I understand sitting down waiting for your food for 45 minutes with nothing else to do. I get it. And you're hungry. I understand. But it would be a different story if like you didn't have anything, you know, on your table. Like we serve bread, we serve all this kind of stuff, you know, you could get appetizers, you have drinks. Like it's not like I'm purposely withholding the food. So I just want to let you guys know that servers and cooks totally separate. We, you know, work as a team. We try to do the best that we can to get the meal out to you and serve it, you know, hot, and serve it exactly how it's supposed to be for you guys. So yeah, that's just one topic that just, it'll go on and on and on, so I do want to cut it off. But yeah. Alrighty guys, topic number 3 is kind of a little bit more details that I know a lot of people don't really know. So in my particular instance, I work at a restaurant where we have particular sections. Tables are split up into particular sections and they are assigned to a specific server. So I have had an instance where the table was sat, it wasn't in my section, but I was in the same, we call them rooms. So, well, yeah, we call them rooms. We're split up. Anyways, moving on. So like they're in specific rooms, and obviously like we could have 2 or 3 servers assigned to the room that are assigned to specific tables. So I had a table that sat down, and obviously like the first thing that I want to do is obviously greet them, but technically like they are not my table. And if my partner is not in the room at the time, I could either, you know, simply go and get them and let them know that, you know, you're sat and, you know, something like that, like you're at a table, you want to go greet it, do you want me to go greet it? So like, and some servers are very particular on that. You know, you really don't want to mess with servers and their money, you know, because then that just comes into like a whole conflict too. And also like I'm the type of person that like that first impression is so important when you're serving tables, that if it's, you know, if you go up to the table and serve them and then somebody else comes up to the table, they're like, oh wait, like, you know, who's my server, what's going on? So, you know, like I get very, you know, I just get I get very irritated when other people, you know, will greet my tables, like if I don't know, and then I have to come up to the table, and it's kind of like, you know, that like second best type of thing. I just don't like that feeling. It's just me particularly. It might not be for everybody, but so we did have an instance where a guest did get a little mad and irritated because either like I walked away and I didn't greet them right away, and I went to actually go get their server who was greeting them, and then they proceeded to tell that server, hey, like, are you our server? Because like, you know, the other girl was in the room and just like walking around, and she never came up to us, or nobody said anything. And so he's like, no, like it's okay, like, you know, I'm your server and like I'll be taking care of you. Mind you, like they really weren't standing. They weren't really sitting there for that long amount of time. It was just the fact that I was there and I didn't go up to them right away. But also a lot of people don't know how the restaurant industry works, or how certain, you know, restaurants run their floor. So technically it wasn't my place to go and to greet them because that specific table wasn't assigned to me. So the next time you go and sit down, you know, I I know you don't know, and like you're just coming in for like a quick bite or like some dinner, or like just to enjoy yourselves. I know you're not really thinking about like the logistics of everything, but just take into consideration that sometimes we do have specific tables that are assigned to a specific server. So if like you see somebody walking around and walking by, it may not be that they're intentionally ignoring you. It may be that one, your table might be assigned to a different server, or two, your table might be outside of a section that may be called an open section, where it's kind of free for all for everybody. But if I'm assigned to a specific section and that open section is in another room, I need to be told that I'm allowed to take that table. So unless I'm told that I'm allowed to take that table, unfortunately, I don't go up to you, I don't greet you. And yes, if I see a table that's been sitting for like a fairly decent amount of time and no server's been over there, I will definitely go over and greet them and, you know, get you started and say hello and stuff like that. And then I'll figure out what's going on afterwards. Sometimes it's just that communication, you know, it may not be the server's fault. It may be like the communication from the host, who's at the table, what's going on and stuff like that. So I don't want to say give us the benefit of the doubt, but you know, take into consideration that sometimes it may just be a communication error. And if you know it really bugs you and it really bothers you, definitely tell management, because obviously we want to eliminate any type of problems or issues like right from when you walk into the door. That way you can have the best experience possible. But in some cases, you know, things are out of our hands. I just don't like things being taken too personally. Like, it's not that I personally didn't want to take care of you or I personally didn't want to greet you. It may just have been nobody told me that you were my table. So yeah, that was topic number 3. Okay guys, so topic number 4, I want to talk about tipping your server, but you know, everybody has their own opinion on that, and I don't have like all the information, you know, that goes into like all of like the logistics about tipping and percentage and taxes and stuff. I'm just gonna go through kind of like my experiences. So it's kind of going off of like tipping your server. So I mean, yes, we always want you to tip your server. Some things that you might take into consideration is, yeah, we might get paid hourly. You know, we do get paid hourly. Minimum wage, it varies by states. It varies by, you know, restaurant and like just different things like that. Like I said, all the logistics. But I did serve in California. I started off serving in California, which is where I live. And working, you know, in the restaurant that I did, I was getting paid like maybe $10 or $11 at the time. And it was, you know, it was nice for me because I got paid minimum wage. But like when I was hosting, it was just minimum wage that I was getting. Like I didn't get any tip out, like nothing like that. We didn't have a takeout person or anything, you know, to be able to get tips. I really didn't start getting tips or making my money until I actually became a server. And that was nice because you get like, you know, your money at the end of the night. That's like, you know, yours, like you get to keep it, and then you also get paid either weekly, bi-weekly, however your restaurant does it, with your, you know, hourly wage that you also get. The only thing that I've like seen is that obviously, like I said, it's not the same everywhere. I served in California, and then when I went to school, I actually lived in Michigan for 3 years. So when I went there, I actually was able to transfer to another chain restaurant that was, you know, the exact same one as mine. I was just able to find one that was located in Michigan where I went to school. So I ended up transferring there and working there for the 3 years. And I didn't know that minimum wage for servers specifically, I guess, was like $2 or $3. So my mom would laugh at me and she would be like, hey Ray, like you got paid this week, but you only got paid like $2 or $3. You know, for I would probably only work like 2 days because, you know, college and so many other things going on. I didn't really serve a lot, but I did serve. So she would just laugh at me, and like one time I remember, I think I only worked like 1 day for like 2 hours for the week, and we get paid weekly. So she was like, hey Ray, have you checked your account? Like you got paid this week? Like, oh my God. And I was like thinking, wow, like what happened? What's going on? Guys, I got paid 10 cents. 10 cents. Like, you know, after they take out taxes and like whatever and whatnot, 10 cents for the week. 10 cents. Like, isn't that crazy? You know, so like now obviously I moved back to California, but like even then, like it was so hard. I just stopped and realized that like, hey, these people are literally living off of their tips. Like at least back home I had like, you know, that weekly like my minimum wage to kind of like be like a little cushion. Maybe I didn't have a good night serving, maybe I didn't get tipped out as much, or you know, maybe something happened, or maybe I didn't get as many days or whatever. So like it would kind of be like that nice little cushion that I would have. In Michigan, it was not the case. It was literally like whatever I made like that day or for that week, that was literally it. So like it was a big drastic change for me. And I know like some people, you know, like to assume like you're getting paid for your job, so why do I need to tip you? That's why, because you don't know. If you knew all the logistics and you knew all the information about how we're getting paid and how, how much money we're taking home, definitely, yeah, if you know all of that and like you can kind of see it and like it makes sense in your mind, I understand why you're just like, well, they're getting paid and either they didn't do a good job or something like. But at the end of the day, if you don't really know, like a lot of these servers are relying on that money to either get them by, to pay bills, to pay whatever they need to. You can't really judge them on that, or you can't really like withhold tipping somebody or tipping less than like obviously the suggested amount because you think, oh hey, they're already getting paid weekly. Sometimes that might not be the case for everybody. So, and I know even in California sometimes it's hard. Sometimes we don't even, because it's a part-time job, so sometimes like if it's slow or we don't have as much guests coming in the door, they send us home. They'd rather save the money to pay to keep the restaurant open than to pay the servers to be there with no tables, type of thing. And also like going back to tipping, I mean, like I said, I don't know all the information. I do have to look up a lot more. I did a little bit of research, but everything's like fairly scattered, so I'm not really an expert here. But I know if we're taking care of your table, we do get taxed on the food that you eat, because we're serving you and doing all that stuff. So I know like if you're paying with card and like you're tipping on the card and stuff like that, we technically get taxed on that. The only money that we don't technically get taxed on, from my understanding and what I know, please correct me if I'm wrong, I'd love to hear everybody's suggestions and all this other information, because like I mean, I've been in the industry for 10 years, but there's always like new things and always things changing. So the only money that we don't get taxed on is if you tip us in cash, because technically like that's us, that's all of ours. Like if we get tipped on like the credit cards, like yes, we get taxed on that too. But so if you think about it, like yes, I get paid my hourly, but the tips is really where the money is, because yeah, I get paid hourly, but it's also a part-time job. So like I don't work at more than 6 hours. Sometimes I don't work more than like 3 to 4 days a week. So it's kind of like it's always an up and down. Like in the serving industry, it can be a really good night, it cannot be good night, it could be really slow, it could be really busy. So it's that teeter-totter effect that you really, unless you've been in the industry, you really don't know how to control. So I don't like to talk a lot about the tipping because obviously everybody has their own opinions and stuff like that. All I would say is tip your server based on their actual like serving ability. Like if they didn't bring you a refill right away, is that really something that like maybe they were busy, like sometimes like things happen, maybe they're taking care of like other tables. Like if it's like, okay, they made a mistake and they brought something wrong, or they made a mistake on my food, or they made a mistake on this, or like and you're very judgmental about that kind of stuff, yes, definitely. And especially if you're going to like higher end restaurants, of course they have to get it right. Like you don't want a mistake, or you don't want something that you didn't order. But like if it's the food's taking too long, or like or the food tastes bad, or like it doesn't look like how it's supposed to look in the picture, please don't judge the server. Like I said before, like we're not the cooks, we're kind of just like that bridge between everybody. Like we're doing the best that we can. So I would say tip according to like your judgment, but maybe not be too harsh. Alrighty, my last and final little like tip, or just something that I kind of like want to put out there, it's kind of just like for me specifically, is when you go to restaurants and like they bring out like that lovely delicious bread to you. Okay, well, my specific restaurant, yes, we have that lovely bread to come and bring out to you, and they tell us in our training we bring out the bread with the salads. Okay, so like imagine like you're training and you're going through all your server stuff, and like your person's telling you, or your trainer's telling you, we like this is our protocol, like we bring out their salads, we take their order, bread is complimentary, so it is free, you get free refills, okay? And you're like, all right, cool, like I get it, I know like this and this, I gotta get their order, gotta get their appetizer, get their drinks out, blah blah blah. Once I bring out the salads, definitely bring out that bread for you. Okay, in some instances I get it, you want it or you question it. So I've had so many people that as soon as I come up to the table, I'm like, hi, like welcome, like my name is Raynise, like I'll be taking care of you today, it's like can I get you started with blah 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 blah. And I've had literally people like look at me and say like, can we get bread? And I'm just like, so the bread's complimentary. It's really free. You're really not paying for it. I'm not supposed to bring it out to you right now. I will definitely bring it out to you. But first, maybe let's get a drink started. Maybe let's get a Coke or let's get a lemonade. Like, okay, we've been trained this whole entire time to come up to a table and we already know bread is free. You bring out bread to your table. Like, that's like already implemented in our brain. So you like telling us like bread is literally like, come on, like it's literally the first thing that they tell you, especially from, you know, like those big chain restaurants that obviously like their bread is like to die for. Yeah, I mean, I've done it, you know, like before I started working, I'm just like, oh my god, like I've gone to like Olive Garden and I was like, oh my god, like can we get some breadsticks? Like, can I have breadsticks? And like, you know, I can just see it on these servers' faces. So until like I actually started working at a restaurant, I was like, oh my god, like now I know how, you know, irritating it is and how like annoying I probably looked or probably like just sounded. So bread, if you're going to like a specific restaurant, like, you know, like an Olive Garden, or like, I feel like that's like the only one that I can kind of like compare that to. Like, bread comes out automatically. Like, if the bread doesn't come out automatically, one, is probably because they're a little behind and they haven't prepared some, and two, that's it. One, it's just not ready. Like, I just don't have any other comments about that. So just like take into consideration, if you're going to a restaurant like that and, you know, they're well known for their bread or for biscuits or for muffins or whatever, like it'll come to you. There are some restaurants, I will say, yes, you do have to ask. Like if it's like one of those sourdough breads or like, you know, something, I know I've gone to like Outback and like we've had to ask for bread, or like they ask us if we want bread on the table because it's one of those optional things. Yeah, definitely ask about it. But if you're going to like, let's say like an Olive Garden or like I don't even know, like, or whatever, that like you already know that they're known for the bread and it's coming out, just please sit and wait patiently, because I've had so many people that are just like, can we get bread? Can we get bread? Can we get bread? Even before I've even introduced myself, they didn't even let me say hi. They were just like, can we get bread? Or like for like appetizers, oh my god guys, this is like so annoying when you're like, oh, can I get you started off with an appetizer, blah blah blah, and then they'll be like, oh no, we're just gonna eat some bread. It's just like, don't say no, we're just gonna eat some bread. Like, maybe try and like, you know, say something a little bit different, like, no, like it's okay, thank you so much. Like, you know, just try to be like a little bit nicer about it instead of just like having like the attitude like, no, we just want our bread. Maybe it's just me, maybe it's just like, you know, my experiences or whatever I've gone through, but I know like sometimes I do get really irritated. And don't worry, like there's bread, there will always be bread. Hopefully, you know, we do have people in the back, I don't know for every restaurant, but we do, that are always making bread, constantly making bread. Once again, like going back to the whole cooks thing, I'm not the bread maker, I'm the server. So if everything is there for me to be able to grab and bring to you, I will definitely bring it. Like sometimes we're busy and we don't have enough bread. Sometimes we're busy and there's not silverware rolled. Sometimes we're busy and, you know, I have to refill the lemonade, or I have to, you know, restock some things, or I have to do this or do that. Like, you know, if it was so easily accessible for me to just grab and get and bring to you, automatically I will definitely bring it out to you right then and there. Sometimes we run out of stuff. Sometimes I have to change the soda in the back, you know, like there's just so many other things that could, you know, sorry, I had to swallow, that could also, you know, just be in the way. Like there's a lot of things going on. And I know if you don't know the restaurant industry, like it's kind of hard to take all those things in consideration. I would just hope that you would take just a little bit of time to kind of just be a little bit more considerate and like, you know, maybe ask, or, you know, just like don't make the server feel like uncomfortable, or don't make them feel like, oh yeah, you're withholding something from me, or like, oh, I asked you for this and you didn't bring it, or like, yeah, definitely if they're giving you a lot of excuses and they're kind of like type of thing, then like, yeah, definitely make a complaint, say something, because, you know, we always take criticism and we want, you know, like that not positive, but like we always take we always take feedback, whether it's criticism, whether it's good, positive, negative. Like, yeah, you want your restaurant to be the best, and you want, you know, the the servers to feel like they're in like that, you know, environment that like keeps them working, and you want people to keep coming in, because if you have like that positive environment and like positive servers and positive workers and everything, then yeah, it makes it a great environment to go and to sit down and eat, to have a good time, to not worry about things. So maybe just be a little bit more positive when you're going out to eat. And like, if you're very specific and you like very specific things, then definitely make sure you let your server know, because we're not mind readers. We don't really know that you're allergic to something, or we don't know that you don't like a specific something, or like, we are total strangers. So you have to, you know, kind of say that right then and there. Sometimes like we'll ask, or sometimes you'll ask, and like we obviously take that very seriously, especially if it's like an allergy or something like that. But other things, just be a little bit nicer maybe in the future. Alrighty guys, so I know it's like a little bit of a rant. I hope the video was not too long, but you know, I've been serving for almost 10 years now, and there's like a lot of things that like either people don't know, people don't like to talk about, or don't like to share. I mean, it is what it is. If you're a server, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know all the little things that, you know, go into serving like a table, and that anything can go wrong, and sometimes like, you know, it's just out of your control. Sometimes food just takes a long time because the cooks have so many tickets, and it's not, you know, anything that's like our fault. So sometimes like I do get really, you know, anxious. I have like a lot of anxiety. If you know server nightmares, if you guys know what I'm talking about, server nightmares, guys, I know. So like, you know, sometimes like it does really have like a big toll and a big effect like on our life. So I try and like at the end of the day just like come home and like decompose, and just trying to like, you know, get all of that out. Like, it's okay, it's okay. And you know, you have like those tables that are just like so amazing. They just think the world of you, and they're like, oh my god, like you're the best server ever. Like, you know, just like giving you those compliments and saying how good of a job you are, and how great of a person you are, and like, you know, how personable you are with them, and like, you know, they can just see how hard you're working, and you know, like they give you that 20% tip. And like those are the people that literally keep me serving, because you know, you get like those other tables that are just like, you know, just like everything possible could go wrong. So I think like that's kind of like what keeps me in the industry. Hopefully not for much longer, but yeah, kind of just my little experiences and stuff. So alrighty guys, that is the end of my video. I hope you guys got a little bit more of an insight on like how servers and how a restaurant works, and you know, just like our little day-to-day lives that go into into preparing and giving you your meal, and you know, giving you that best experience possible. So I hope you guys take some things into consideration. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please be sure to comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe. I have a lot of other videos that hopefully I can be coming out and showing you guys soon, just like little tips and stuff, just to get, you know, through your everyday life. I know it's hard. I know there's a lot of things going on in the world right now, especially with this whole COVID thing and coronavirus stuff. So I hope everybody's staying safe and staying healthy out there. And yeah, give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you guys in the next video.